representing the Pemberton Wildlife Association, and our concerns surround illegal dumping and wildlife issues related to garbage.
Thank you. We also have Julia Lister.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I just turned on my video as well. Yeah, I do go by Jules, but it says Julia, but whichever works for everyone. I'm from Squamish Climate Action Network, a nonprofit in Squamish. Yeah, and I'm just excited to kind of attend today. We're trying to kind of expand our zero waste community underneath the branch of Squamish Can. So yeah, just excited to kind of be involved in the conversation and talk about what we're doing and what we hope to see Squamish adopting as well.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. And we also have Rachel Munger from Squamish Nation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rachel. I'm the environmental manager with the Squamish Nation Rights and Title Department. If you met the previous environmental manager, Kathleen Edwards, she's still with our department. We've just done a bit of shuffling around in our positions, and she's moved into a more senior role. So you might see a little bit more of me. I won't be able to attend for the entire meeting today, but I'm just sort of here at a high level to take any items back to our team for further discussion. I think that we've sort of have had contact since 2020, I think, regarding this project. So I'm just sort of picking up on the background on that. So thanks so much for having me today.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll jump right in. So as per the June 27, 2022 agenda, I have one quick change, as the Solid Waste and Resource Management Plan update will go first, and then Shannon White will present the Squamish Landfill Focus Amendment. Beside that, I myself don't have any changes. Do we have anyone in this committee that would like to make any changes or would like to add anything? I don't see anything. Can I have the agenda approved? You can raise your hands or speak. Okay, we have Carmen, Stacy, and we have Misha from the village of Pemberton. Oh, right. I forgot to ask you to present yourself, Misha. Can you present yourself? I'm so sorry.
That's okay. My name is Misha Cassette. I work for the village of Pemberton as I guess a laborer would be the best title to put me under. A garbage foot soldier, if you will. And I look forward to immersing myself into this committee.
Thank you so much. I'm very pleased to have you in the committee as well. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, and then we have Vanessa sent the minutes from the January 19, 2022. Oh, yes, Andrew, you have a question?
Oh, that I'm just sorry. The last piece of information was for I thought that was the minutes. Sorry, what was the last that you just voted on?
The agenda.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's
okay. And then now it's for the minutes. So January 19, 2022 minutes meeting. Do we have any changes that the committee would like?
I thought that we were on that or at that meeting, and I don't see any representation for the RMOW.
Lauren.
Is she on there? Oh, there she is. Sorry. Pardon me. Yeah, sorry. My apologies.
No worries. Anyone would like to make any changes? No. Can I have the minute approved? And I don't see everyone, so if you can speak out loud, because I don't see everyone, so I might miss your hand. Okay, we have Tom and we have Shannon and we have Andrew. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so now that this is done, basically for those who are, oh, hi Denise, I see Denise just joined in. Thank you, Denise, for joining in. So for those who are new, so the Solid Waste and Resource Management Plan Advisory Committee is basically to review the action that was decided back in 2014 for this management plan, and kind of like keeping in track, making sure we are doing what we said will be, or if there's any changes, then we can keep track of it. So, and then we can update on specific project as well. And then the committee usually provides a quick update. Usually it's we kind of try to keep it 5-10 minutes. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, depending on what the committee has to talk about. But yeah, that's kind of like the roundtable that we do. Okay. So as per the changes, I will go first with the Solid Waste Resource Management Plan update. So Vanessa, if you want to bring the presentation.
There you go.
Okay. So this is a presentation that it's slightly different, but it's a presentation that we presented to the board back in March of 2022. So next slide. Okay, so I just pulled the new information, the new data from the province for 2019. So the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District back in 2019 had an average of 434 kilo per person, which is good compared to the province at 501 kilo per person. So we're still below the province waste. So that is very good. I'm very pleased with it. And I'm very glad that we finally have some kind of new information. We've been using the 2018 data for quite a bit now. Next, and we're doing pretty good too if we compare to other regional districts. So let's keep the good work, everyone. We haven't been able to update this slide, but basically we're still under the province. As you can see, there's a slight increase between 2019 and 2020, an increase of 54 kilos per person, and basically due to COVID. We all know that at the beginning of the pandemic, people were doing quite a bit of cleanup, and we are seeing an increase of garbage going to landfill. So this isn't a surprise at all. Next slide. Okay, this is basically what we have been doing at the regional district level, but also at the municipal level. So back in 2014, we started the creation of the Solid Waste Management Plan, which is under the BC regulation. We sent it to the province to be approved in 2016, and it was approved by the Minister of Environment and Climate Change in 2019. We are aiming for 2024 to start the update, the full update of the management plan. It will be 10 years, which is usually the threshold requested by the province. And it's just good because solid waste changes so quickly that we need to update our actions and the requirements that we wanted and just what we want to see in the future. Back in between 2014 and 2019, we've been doing quite a few actions. So we have the school waste education program. So basically, we've been using Aware as a contractor to go to the different schools within the regional district, talk to different grades, mostly kids and high school students as well, just to kind of like update them on the waste, on recycling, organics. We all know that if we bring information to the kids, kids will bring it back home, and that we're going to see great progress. We keep doing food scrap rejection campaign, education around EPR programs. We increased the organics. We have now organics bylaw. We have the landfill bans on all the EPR programs. We're doing waste reduction events, requiring the development to have a tree streams waste system. So that includes recycling, organics, and waste. So to really divert as much as possible. We're monitoring the greenhouse gas. Lillooet Landfill did the conformance review back in 2017, and we've been working on the funding for zero waste initiatives. So all those awareness campaigns, it's ongoing. We might change it from time to time, but it never goes away, especially in this area where we get so many visitors, so many newcomers every year. So we always need to stay updated with the education campaign. 2020 was a very challenging year for everyone. At the SLRD, we didn't have an outreach person, so that was very challenging. But we were able to do a waste composition audits, as well as enrolling with WildSafe BC, and we now have a coordinator since 2020. So this year is the third year for Devin Pallot to be with the SLRD as the WildSafe BC coordinator. In 2021, we were able to put a glass depot in Britannia Beach, work on bylaw update, especially for Divine Transfer Station. We worked with the Fire Smart program for vegetative debris removal. We also did the design and operation and closure plan for Lillooet Landfill, which was overdue. For Britannia Beach and Furry Creek, the curbside recycling program, we did a tune-up. We also did the weekly curbside organics. Previous to 2021, the organics was picked up every second week, which was a challenge. So we did it weekly from May to September. And we now have Vanessa Lafontaine with us as a communications and project coordinator as a full-time position. I don't know if some of you might remember, Brooke was part-time. So with now having a full-time position, it helps a lot with all the events and outreach that we are able to do. So up to this year, 2022, we are working on a illegal dumping strategy and action plan on the relocation of Pemberton Transfer Station, which should, we're aiming by the end of the year. And then the waste room technical guideline, we're basing it on the district of Squamish, what they did. The Squamish landfill solid waste management plan focus amendment, Shannon will speak to that in a minute. We're working on the Goldbridge transfer station. We have a septic trench up in Goldbridge. We need to do a risk assessment. And then we'll also be doing waste composition audit this year as well. We're aiming for every second year for that. So that gave us kind of like an idea of what we can improve and where we're doing better, or what we still need to be working on as per landfill diversion. We included in the curbside tune-up the organics this year for the first time. We also extended the weekly curbside organics to the month of October, because it's down in Goldbridge and Britannia Beach, down in Fern Creek and Britannia Beach. We have quite a bit of bears activities in October. So having the organics pick up weekly is kind of like, it should help, hopefully. And then we I haven't started yet, but we are hoping to start on the solid waste emergency management plan, more like in terms of debris removal and in terms of what if we have emergencies as we saw last year. So we have quite an extended areas, especially in the regional district, and we need to have a plan of how to manage all those debris. So yeah, that's kind of a quick update of what happened in the past and this year. And now, next slide. I will highlight basically what we still need to work on as per the solid waste management plan actions. So basically, this is a list of the activities that was set as per the 2016 plan. So we still need to work on the ICI and multifamily communication strategy. The District of Squamish and the Resort Municipality of Whistler have been working on that for quite a while. The regional district still need to work on this. I'm hoping that we'll be able to start this year, but I can't be 100% sure at the moment. Tourist accommodation communication strategy, still need to work on that. The construction and demolition communication strategy, the District of Squamish and Resort Municipality of Whistler are doing great progress on that. The SLRD hasn't started yet. It is a little bit challenging as we don't have much of our transfer stations that accept construction and demolition. Mainly it's up north and it's a little bit challenging, but I know we need to work on that and find ways to divert more of construction and demolition debris. Next slide. Expansion of zero waste workshops. It's still in progress. The District of Squamish was able to do most of their zero waste workshop and events this year. Now that we're back a little bit more back to normal, so that is great. And again, the SLRD is still working on it, making progress, but I wouldn't say that it's an ongoing and we are done with this. Promote local construction, demolition, waste, reuse, recycling opportunities. Again, District of Squamish, Resort Municipality of Whistler doing great on this. It's still ongoing. It's those kind of things that are very challenging, and the SLRD needs to find a way to promote that at the regional level and within their electoral areas. A rebuild center in Pemberton. We haven't started yet, and right now the main challenge is to find a location, find people to work with. It might be in need of revisiting how it will be worded in the next solid waste management plan, but we'll see what we can do. But right now we just don't have any space. The regional district doesn't own any land beside the transfer station that is being built right now, and there's no space for a rebuild center at that location. So that is the main challenge. As per Lillooet, at the Lillooet landfill, we haven't done any work on that, unfortunately. Next slide. Funding for local zero waste initiatives. This is a program that the SLRD has, and it's been there for quite a while, but we haven't been able to promote it in a way and getting structured in a way that I want. So this year we are working on this to really have a better way to promote that and to help organizations that want to organize zero waste initiatives or events and how to support them. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to make great progress in 2022, 2023. Consistent tipping fees. The District of Squamish and the Resort Municipality of Whistler, they've been working on that for a very long time. The regional district, we haven't been updating our bylaws regularly, so we are working on that. And while we won't be able to align the tipping fees just because of different areas, just different realities, we'll be aiming to kind of like close the gap between Whistler tipping fees and Pemberton tipping fees and Lillooet and Goldbridge. So we have been working on updating our bylaws for quite a while. So this year we should have the Goldbridge and Pemberton bylaw updated. And in 2023, the Lillooet landfill bylaw will be updated as well. Landfill bans on specific EPR. So it is completed for most of us. Again, when the SLRD is updating their bylaw, they add the wording that all EPR stewardship programs that we have in place will not be accepted as part of waste to landfill. So that's why for the District of Squamish and Resort Municipality of Whistler, we have it as completed and the regional district is in progress. The next one, the curbside recycling and yard waste collection in Lillooet. It hasn't been started yet. I had a conversation with the District of Lillooet in the past. The budget wasn't there, but it's something that we can look into it for the future. But that will require greater conversation, and it doesn't depend on the original district. Next slide. Recycling waste at events, so minimization at events. DOS, regional, Whistler, it's ongoing. We have a bylaw for the events at the regional district. They need a solid waste plan, but sometimes there's a gap in the communication. So that's why I have it in progress. I feel there's still room for improvement on that side of thing at the regional level, at the regional district level. And then the next one, requiring new development to design for tree stream waste management. So the District of Squamish, they have it completed. They keep working on it to make sure it's improved. Resort Municipality of Whistler and us, the regional district, is working with the District of Squamish, working with GFL to have it aligned between the three of us, so there's no huge differences if developers want to build let's say like a complex. So we're kind of requiring the same thing. So still need quite a bit of work at the regional district level to have it completed, but we are working on this, and I know Whistler is also working on it. Next slide. Okay, Squamish landfill expansion. It is in progress, and you will hear a little bit more about it when Shannon provide you with a presentation. Working group with waste management options. I have it as in progress because it's been very hard to get the committee together, but we need to, I need to do better on that. So, but it will be an ongoing, as we need to meet at least once a year. And I think it should be a little bit more than that. Illegal dumping strategy. I won't be updating you on the strategy and action plan, but it is going to be completed in the summer of 2022. And after it's been presented to the board, we can talk a little bit more about it at the next meeting end of this year. Commercial collection containers to be animal proof. I haven't done any progress on that. Next slide. And that's it. So because it's quite a long list of actions, I wanted just to focus on the one that we haven't done any progress, while we have done quite a bit of work on the other actions. Next slide. So back in 2020, I'll try to go quickly because I know time is going by fast. So we did waste audit in Lillooet, Pemberton, Furry Creek, Britannia Beach. I know Western Squamish done one as well. As you can see with the results, there's still quite a bit of improvement to do on the amount of compostable materials going to landfill, as well as the recyclable. So 2022 will be doing a waste audit in Lillooet, Furry Creek, Britannia Beach, as well as Goldbridge. So we'll be able to see the difference, and hopefully we're doing a little bit better. Next slide. We can pass this one. It's just like we're working on recycling education and organics re-education campaign. And Vanessa will update you on what has been going on the education and outreach, because this is really her work. So I want her to speak to it.
All right, I'm just going to turn on my camera here if I can. So you guys can actually see me in the corner here. Hi. All right. So a couple of things that we worked on in 2021 in terms of outreach was the curbside tune-up in the communities of Britannia Beach and Furry Creek. I have the number here at the bottom. We audited a number 96 in Furry Creek and 120 bins in Britannia Beach in 2021. And in Wild Safe BC, I put a snapshot here of the outreach that Devin, the community coordinator, has done. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see that it's quite wide ranging, from presentations to bear spray workshops to display booths, quite the good outreach for the Wild Safe BC. And then in terms of waste education, we hosted a online workshop in collaboration with the Pemberton Stewardship and Wild Safe BC. We attended and supported a reuse event in Pemberton. And as Matthew mentioned before, COVID-19 was a very large barrier for us in 2021 in terms of hosting and attending events. We did have multiple social media campaigns, from Recycle BC education product or packaging is what you see on the screen here. We had an EPR campaign. We also had the waste composition campaign, as you saw in one of the slides that Matthew showcased, where we had the magnet on the composter trying to educate people as to what is going in their bin. And then I just put a little number down there for you, is that what was our reach in 2021 for our social media, which was 19,839. In 2022 so far, we've had a New Year campaign where we asked different members of our communities what they were going to do to reduce their waste in 2022. We also ran there's a program for that campaign, which was the improved EPR campaign for 2022. We hosted the Divine Collection event in May. It was over a week for the 3 days the Divine Transfer Station was operational for. We collected 263 tires, half a mega bag of lighting products, 3/4 of a mega bag of small appliances, and 3/4 of a bag of electronics. And then for our social media outreach, I can't see it here because I have too many screens in front of me, but I believe it was 18,000. So we've already at the point that we were last year, which is good. And then we had Pitch-In Week. So thank you for everyone who participated. Whistler, Squamish, Village of Pemberton. It was great to have everybody on board for the 20-minute blitz. It was lots of fun. And then we had a lot of our community groups that participated as well, like the Bridge River Valley Community Association, the Pemberton Stewardship, Aware did a huge community rally as well. Rotary cleaned up a section of the highway. Lillooet Community Connect Innovation Hub also had a community event. So thank you to everybody that participated. Another campaign that we ran in April and we're running in June as well is the Make Soil Not Waste, which is our campaign for organic collection. I have printed material for Squamish and Whistler. If anyone else would like some printed materials, just let me know, get in contact with me. You all have my email and I can make arrangements, especially the Village of Pemberton and the District of Lillooet. And then we supported and attended an event for Earth Day in Pemberton, and we are hoping, or we are currently working on hosting some backyard composting workshops with the Stewardship Pemberton Society. And we've given away 21 kitchen catchers at events so far this year. We've recently hosted our first pop-up depots, one in Furry Creek, one in Britannia Beach, with a total of 15 one-on-one interactions. Most of our residents were asking us about other flexible plastics because we were accepting those material. We were answering questions about the curbside tune-ups, which took place on June 1st this year, and we're going to have another one in fall. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions? I know that was quite a lot. Sorry. It's yeah, you can unmute yourself or raise your hand if you have any questions. Okay, I don't see anyone. We'll be moving forward. We have Shannon. So Shannon and I, we worked on the Solid Waste and Resource Management Plan Focus Amendment, specifically for the Squamish landfill expansion. So I will let Shannon speak to the project.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Right. I'm unable to share my screen, so I missed the name, but could you?
I can help you with that. Just one.
Thank you. And apologies, I have my screen off because I was eating lunch. So if you see food in my teeth through the screen, please just ignore it. So
you can try again, Shannon.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Let me, I think that's not working. No, it's working. Sorry, apologies. Give me one moment, folks. I am there. I think we're good. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So thank you. Thanks. I will, so for those folks who I haven't had the opportunity to meet, my name is Shannon. I am with the District of Squamish. My title is the Integrated Solid Waste Specialist. So I oversee the landfill at the District of Squamish, amongst a few other things. And have been here for 6 years, and I'm just really excited to see where this group has gone and all the initiatives that the SLRD has been implementing, and then just kind of where we're going with this. It's really cool as a region to see like the initiatives that are on deck. So without further ado, I'm slotted in because I'm here to talk about, give me a second, sorry, IT. There's an alarm going off in my bag here. Oh, Zoom. All right. So I'm here talking about the expansion of the landfill. So for those folks who aren't aware, the District of Squamish operates and owns a landfill where we have about 6 years of lifespan. And that 6 years, I say, is a little bit tentative because it depends on how much waste we take and the compaction and operations and things like this. There's a bunch of different variables. And we do take waste from the District of Squamish boundaries, as well as, electoral area D residents. So that's Britannia Beach, Furry Creek, a bit of like Squamish Valley area, as well as Squamish Nation. So as I said, we have 6 years left. In the photo you see on your screen is the landfill. You can see that we actually built a wall around the southern end. Cost us $6 million and got us about 10 years of lifespan. So that's great, but now we're really working on what do we do next. At the southern end, just in case you're wondering, all those green bins there are really for, that's like a recycle depot area that is really tight on space because it was probably built for, a community of 15,000, and now we're at almost 23,000 in the District of Squamish alone. So really the District of Squamish has turned, we built our wall, we got a bit more lifespan, and we're looking at like, what do we do next with all this garbage? I'm not going to go into the history of it because I did present in early 2020 to this group, but if anyone has any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Give me one moment. So the goals of the project, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself, is that the intent now is we will be expanding this landfill you see on your screen east, and I have a map coming up, so just hold tight for the visual, but essentially where the trees are to the right, if you're looking at the screen, that's where a landfill would be. So the goal of this project is not just to create a landfill, it's really to kind of rethink it and kind of reimagine it. Yes, we have to create a landfill, but to dispose of waste, but really kind of how can we take advantage of having that extra space? So we want it to be efficient and value driven because we are a local government, and integrated into our existing infrastructure. So that's like water and electricity and roads and whatnot. But we also are looking to drive home the District of Squamish's climate change goals, waste reduction goals. And so how can we increase the waste reduction and like the beneficial reuse of materials, so like support the circular economy, as well as reduce the impact of leachate on the municipality's sewer system. So leachate is kind of the water that percolates through the garbage. Right now it goes directly into the District of Squamish's sewer system, which is fine, and it meets all kind of environmental regulations. However, it's high concentrate. So we're looking at how can we reduce that. So we have applied the District of Squamish. This land is on the unceded traditional territory of Squamish Nation. It is under Crown or FLNRO Forest Land Resource Natural. They've got a beautiful long title. I can't remember off the top of my head. Their ownership here. So the blue rectangle that you see is the piece of land that we have applied to the province for. The entire blue parcel is the land acquisition. The purple is actually what would be the landfill footprint. So in the south end, we're looking at building out that waste reduction piece. So how can we expand our transfer station or recycle area or eco depot, whatever you want to call it, and then also build a leachate treatment system to reduce that concentration I mentioned. So you can see on the west side of your screen, so on the left, there is the current landfill. So that's that image you just saw. I'm going to breeze through this because some is repetition to what I've said before, but also there's it's a large project and a lot of moving pieces. So there's some new information filtered in here. So this is high level project overview. So what you see is all the pieces with the dark orange are kind of where we're at. So we did present to the District Squamish Council and Squamish Nation at the same time. I think it was within the same 2 weeks or week, a couple of options of what we're going to do, and both landed on this lateral expansion. So we have, and I'll walk through a couple of these, but so I'm not going to go through them, but just so this is where we're at. And by phases, so when you're like, okay, Shannon, you have 6 years left, what are you going to do? So right now in 2022, you can see we're working on the pre-design and permitting still. So we're in the process of acquiring the land. We probably won't get it until 2025 at the earliest, to be honest. We're also conducting an archaeological impact assessment. We're working on an amendment, a focused amendment to this SLRD solid waste and resource management plan. We're updating the concept design. We're doing a debris flow risk assessment. We'll then be transitioning into some more like procedural documents that the Ministry of Environment requires. And the idea is that we start doing detailed design in 2023, 2024. With the intent of like starting to do works in 2025, 2026. Like once we get the land, then hopefully we can start working with the idea of being open to taking garbage in 2029. So we will be doing an archaeological impact assessment. The paperwork has all been submitted. We've been working with Squamish Nation, and then Squamish Nation has recommended a consultant, Ecologic, for us to hire. They've submitted all the paperwork, as I mentioned. We're just waiting for it to go through Heritage Canada to be approved, the permits. So I believe when I presented last time, I said the work will be done in March, and now we're in June and we're still waiting. So I keep following up, and it's a bit of a waiting game on this, but the intent is to do the work in 2022 on the land we're looking at acquiring. We're also conducting a debris flow risk assessment. So we're having a kickoff meeting in early July with consultants. So they're BGC Engineering. They've done a lot of modeling around the Chikai debris flow with the barrier. So this is really looking at like risk, if there was any sort of debris flow, where should buildings be or not be? How is this risk to workers? What happens, like, should we move pieces of the expansion around? Like if there's like a building for recyclables, should it be in a different spot? And then also just ensuring that last line item is ensuring that there's no transfer of risk to adjacent properties. So if we build this landfill expansion, this giant landfill expansion, right? It'll go high. It'll go as high as the current landfill. There won't be any risk of like flooding or anything to adjacent properties. So that's part of this risk assessment that'll be happening this year. And if the consultants find any sort of concerns or issues in this assessment, the intent is to continue into the next year. So it's a phase one, potentially phase two item. So I want to dive into the solid waste and resource management plan because this is truly a part where, of course, I appreciate any feedback or questions on the entire project, but this is really where this group comes together, and I do need your involvement if you so wish to give it. And so we are doing a focused amendment, and we're very clear, Mary Lou and I, about using the term focus, because as you are aware, the solid waste resource management plan is quite an extensive document. As Mary Lou talked about all the different initiatives that are going on, all we are looking at doing is amending one clause, so that A that's blue on one side to the revised version on the second column, and adding D to the same clause. Like there's a B and a C, which we're not touching, and then a D. So purely we're revising, shortening, and tightening the wording in that 1A to be very clear. So what the ministry said to us is that current very wordy A is not explicit enough that the Lateral landfill expansion has received the public engagement and approval to happen. So with that, we've revised it to be very clear to the 1A on the revision post side. And then we've also added D, and you might wonder, why are we doing that? But the point is that as we're going down this path, you saw there's lots of components to this project. A lot of them are actually out of my or the District of Squamish's control. And so if anything comes up that either derails the entire lateral landfill expansion or causes a temporary need for like a lot of waste disposal. So hypothetically say there's a giant flood and hundreds of houses go down and we suddenly need, that's going to fill up our landfill right away. What are we going to do? We don't have 6 years to move forward with the lateral expansion. So the D is in there in case we need to do an export of waste outside of the region. And that was added on recommendation of the Ministry of Environment. So this is when we talk about the focused amendment, purely we're talking about that one giant A turning into the smaller A, just using the small and big as like references for you, and then D for the waste export. So knowing that that's really what we're doing, the ministry has asked us to go into the public and make sure that the public is aware, and the public and then neighboring properties and engaged stakeholders. So like kind of a variety of and other local governments are aware of this project and that they approve of it. If we heard a resounding chorus of no's, then we would need to be revisiting this project, to be honest. So an engagement plan was drafted. It was brought forward to this group and emailed out for feedback. SLRD was participated in drafting that engagement plan, and we also ran it by the Ministry of Environment to make sure we kind of hit what their expectations were on engagement for this focused amendment. So Mary Lou and I have been extremely busy. Since May, we've been doing 5 in-person pop-up stations. So we did 1 in Britannia Beach, 1 in Furry Creek, 2 in Squamish, 1 in Whistler. We also did an online open house. So for kind of in that idea that folks who either couldn't attend in person or kind of live outside of the Whistler and South region, they could attend. And then we also have an online platform for comments and questions. We've done lots of ads in the Squamish paper, the Whistler paper, as well as the Goldbridge paper, advertising, like trying to direct folks to this platform to provide their comments and questions. And then I've also been working directly with Squamish Nation to ensure that they are fully informed on the project. And also we have sent out letters to all the neighboring properties that were within 1,500 meters of the landfill expansion. Just really informing them, giving them some contact information, giving them the map that you saw and kind of the timeline and project overview. Really just wanting to make sure we kind of, everybody's informed about it. Here's some lovely photos of us chatting with folks, and we're out there rain or shine. And thank you to the RMOW for providing us with a covered structure. We appreciated that as well. What I wanted to share here is just real quick, that is the Let's Talk Squamish page. And you can see it's the landing page. There's Mary Lou and my photos there really saying, hey, we hear you. There's that megaphone saying if anybody's interested in learning about this project, not in only this one timeline, but kind of moving forward. I will continue to, there's put your email address in there, and I'll be continuing to send kind of updates as they come along. It's not a spam. And then really we encourage people to leave a comment or question. And so we haven't received a ton, to be honest, on the platform yet, but here's kind of what we're looking at. And so I've created a list of kind of what we've heard through these public engagements so far. So questions about like, what's the timeline of the project? Who owns the land? What's the lifespan of the expansion? What different type of recycling options will it provide, or giving us feedback on what people want? That risk transfer of flooding concerns. And then what's going to happen to the landfill gas at the site. And we will be writing a report at the end that really talks about all the engagement sessions, what we heard, any outstanding questions, stuff like that. So I've got 2 notes here. Please, please, please encourage anyone who might be interested, or if your organization is interested, to leave comments or questions on letstalksquamish.ca, or you can email them to Mary Lou or I directly. Also, please subscribe on there to stay informed, because I'll be using that list just to send out regular updates. So the focused amendment timeline is, so I've mentioned in-person events. The engagement technically closes July 15th this year. Mary Lou and I are chatting about potentially extending it, but hang tight. Right now we're working with July 15th. If it gets extended, there'll be some information sent out. And then we'll be sharing the report with the Ministry of Environment. And then the idea is beginning of November, the report that like what we heard will be shared with this group for feedback and input. And then we'll share with the public. And then the last week of November, we will be coming to this group, and the group will have to make a decision whether to recommend the report to the SLRD Board of Directors, who will then submit it to the province. We get a little bit bureaucratic on this, sorry about that. Yeah, so that's kind of the process. Basically, this committee decides whether they support the lateral expansion and that amendment that I showed you to the solid waste management plan. And the idea is that December 14th, we might, again, if the committee recommends it, we would go to the SLRD Board of Directors and present to them. We being Mary Lou and Vanessa and I, and then early 2023, it'll be submitted to the Ministry of Environment. They will take their time to review it, and then we'll have feedback. This is just really high level. This is, I wanted to have a slide of like what your input or your organization through the website, and then review the report, and then we'll make a decision on whether to recommend it or not. A couple other project components on this, just so you are aware, is that we are doing a concept design update. So we did a concept design in 2019 of what a lateral landfill could look like. This is really just revisioning that, taking a bit more perspective on that waste diversion, circular economy. How can we update the site? You know, looking at traffic flow, there'll be a traffic impact assessment and whatnot. So there's a lot of kind of updates. We also will be doing a feasibility assessment of whether a material recovery facility is feasible or not, as well as a SWOT analysis, and just doing some like looking at other sites to see what works and what doesn't in other places. So this is a bit more on the concept design. So as my last slide, this is kind of what I'm working on in 2022. So we have the archaeological impact assessment, finalizing the engagement, you know, what do we hear, and then coming back to this group, and then ideally bringing it to the ministry in early 2023, finishing that concept design, kicking off and completing the debris flow risk assessment, and then ideally late 2023, 2024, we'll start the detailed design for the site. So thank you very much for your time. And I just want to open up if there's any questions. There's also my email address if anyone wants to reach out. And please, again, let's talk squamish.ca and look for the landfill expansion. So there, I spoke really fast, and yeah, I hope that's helpful. Are there any questions?
And then if there's any questions, this, yeah, fire away. Okay. No questions. So I suggest that it's 2:04. So I suggest that we come back at 2:10. So let's take a few minutes break. And yeah, let's come back at 2:10. Okay, welcome everyone. If you can just start quickly your camera so we know who is with us. And I know it's lunchtime for few people. So we have Carmen, Shannon, Scott is with us. We have Rachel with us. Guess we're still waiting for Tom, Denise, Julia, and Brandy. Oh, we have Andrew. Perfect. So waiting for Tom, Denise, and Brandy. Tom is back with us. Thank you, Tom. Brandy is with us. Denise is with us. Okay. Julia, are you also with us? Or you're just away? Okay.
I am, yes. I just put it in our chat there. I'm here.
Oh yeah, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, I missed that one.
No problem.
Okay, well, welcome back. Thank you, everyone. We are on track, so that's a good news. So the next one on our agenda is the regional roundtable discussion. So I will go around my screen and ask for people to give us a quick update on what they're working on. If they want to share any challenges, people are more than welcome. Just a reminder, we are online. We will be live and be on YouTube. So depending on the issue you want to share, just want to remind everyone. So Tom, you are my first on my screen. Do you want to start with a quick update on what you're working on?
Sure, I can speak. We did have a community cleanup week in April as well. We had a barbecue event at one of our transfer stations, had numerous sort of gifts and before after competition for householders to do yard cleaning, where we gave prizes for best cleanup. We got rid of quite a few cars in the neighborhoods during that week as well, and sort of reinvigorated our communication around recycling and composting. We continue to have problems with contamination, and we're trying to do a little more education on people are sorting, but we're having a lot of not cleaned out plastics and stuff with still some food in it, and consequently it gets chucked. So we're working on that. We took in tires from some of the lower communities along the lake. So we had quite a big load of tires. Tire Stewardship BC's done 2 loads. We still have more to go. Still working with the problem of tires on rims. We're seriously considering purchasing one of those tire removers. One of our transportation operators is an experienced, worked for a long time at a tire shop and knows how to operate them. We continue to have employee training through ISWA-TAG, and that's for our 3 staff. And making repairs to our fences caused by bears. And the last thing I'm working on right now is renewal of our service agreement with our curbside pickup contractor. And we're planning on continuing that service.
Thank you. I do have one question, and obviously everyone is can ask any questions when after the presentation. Who did you work with for the cars removal?
Oh, we used our own public works staff, crew. So we and then Pacific Metals picks them up. So we sort of deconstruct them a little bit, but and then crush them a little bit, put them in bins, and Pacific Metals picks them up.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Manu, before anybody else goes, I just wanted to mention that if you introduce yourself before you jump into your update, I think that would be very helpful. There's a lot of new people in the room that might not be familiar with who you are.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, sorry, it's Tom Laviolette. I'm with Lillooet Nation, Director of Infrastructure.
Thank you.
Any questions from anyone for Tom?
Tom, I have a question.
Sure.
Just with the rims, so you're unable to send them through the recycling program then? Or is it just the extra costs they charge you?
The extra costs, and also on the ground, they're a little reluctant on grabbing them. And there's plenty of tires off rims. So they just the pile just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So yeah. It's kind of, it's a combination of things that that pile is growing.
Yeah, I was just thinking because like the Ministry of Environment seems to be really interested in like remote and rural, supporting remote and rural locations. And I feel like you're definitely more rural than we are here in Squamish. So I was wondering, maybe, is there any way to get their attention and support on this?
Sorry, with who?
Like the Ministry of Environment?
Oh, well, I haven't thought of that. Yeah, sure, be willing to try anything. If you've got a contact, that'd be awesome. We're gonna do some inquiring for sure.
Definitely, I think Mary Lou's got all the same contacts I do, but
okay,
definitely happy to help anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll touch base with you, Tom, on that, and we can I can share the contact group I have, and because yeah, tires, like servicing seems to be an issue for so many people around. I know I have the same challenges. We have huge stockpile of tires up in Goldbridge, still trying to get them removed.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other folks with questions for Tom? If not, let's move on. Shannon, do you want to give us a quick update beside the focus amendment?
Yeah, definitely. So we've got a few things. April is a biggie. April, May, June are busy months for engagement. So District of Squamish hires Squamish Can. So Jules, sorry, who's on the call, has helped organize. We did a Reuse It fair, which is a giant like free event. So you can bring anything, take anything. And it was great. We haven't had it in 2 years. So it's like this, it's great. It's a huge environmental and social benefits. Honestly, it's great. Well attended. Folks said they think there was double the amount of people we normally have. There definitely was a lot of material coming through that site. We also did a repair cafe and curbside tune-up, similar to what Mary Lou's the SLRD presentation was. We just did those. We're doing a waste composition at our landfill this summer. So every 2 years, we look at the garbage we get at the landfill and we break it down by single family homes, apartment buildings in the ICI sector. And we look at, what's in the garbage and then try and use that to help direct our messaging and targeting of folks. We're also doing a zero waste strategy update. So we did a zero waste strategy in 2016 that laid out a lot of our like municipal initiatives around waste reduction. And so we're kind of really breathing life into that. We've selected a proponent. I don't know if the contract's been signed, so I can't say who it is right now, but we're really excited. We're just really trying to be innovative and like drive the ideas. Really not looking for kind of just the standard template that we really want some kind of ideas that are fit Squamish, but also are like pushing the dial to reduce waste and support circular economy. We've also been participating in some of the provincial consultations. So the single-use items that the province had out, as well as the paint and HHW EPR programs. I did send those, or my colleague Jeff sent those to a few folks on this call to kind of maybe inspire your own consultation papers. But if you want it, please let me know and we can send it to you. And then we are also with the ramp up of construction industry in the summer, it's like kind of, you know, it gets hot and we start building more in Squamish. We've also done a huge push on like enforcement and just requiring our construction sites to really separate out those materials. So really kind of trying to crack down those folks because we don't want that in the landfill, like the wood waste. There's other places for it to go. We're also trying to do a glass pilot that mirrors the one Mary Lou talked about in Britannia Beach and Furry Creek. So setting up just like kind of some totes in the neighborhood. I was all geared up to go and just roll with it, do some internal work and then get it out in the community. But we've taken kind of a bit of a back seat and now we're going to put it out to the community and say more like, where do you want this? Because there could be some NIMBYism around like, I don't want a glass containers right by my house. So we're going to kind of put it out to the public and be like, drop a pin on the map and like, let us know. So stay tuned for that update. And then we also did a really cool thing. It was in partnership with I don't mean to take credit. There was something cool in Squamish that happened and we supported it, I should say. And that was really, we partnered, there was the Rotary Club and then Under One Roof, which is like our food bank. And I don't know what, anyway, it is, and so they did a kids bike swap and it was really focused, right? And so we had 76 bikes, sorry, there was over 100 bikes came in, donated, and then basically the intent was they got redistributed within the community to folks who might need kids bikes. And so they repurposed or gave life back to 76 bikes, which is great because kids go through a lot of bikes in our communities and it's great to have that out there. So that was really exciting. And it's really cool. The reuse it fair that I talked about was so big. And we saw some really big, like tons and tons of clothes, right? Like just like I think of the tables, there were mountains of clothes. Hundreds of people come to this event, right? And so now we're actually going to try and focus and do a few more like tailored events, like more clothing swaps or like mending, kind of more to help reduce that amount of those giant events. So that's in a nutshell. Oh, and with the zero waste strategy, there's going to be tons of engagement. So if you're in Squamish, please participate and give us your input on what you want to see around waste reduction and diversion. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Shannon. Any questions for Shannon? It's very quiet today. So if there's no question, we're gonna move forward. The next one I have is Misha.
If you wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind just sitting in on this meeting just because I'm in the process of reaching out to the old representative from the Village of Pemberton to see what she was working on so that maybe I could jump on board and think of my own.
Yes, no worries. And to be honest, this study, like the SLRD is really working, taking the lead on waste for the Village of Pemberton, especially for the Pemberton transfer station, for example. So I know you're very new to that and we can have more conversation to see how we can work together. But yeah, I'm happy to move to the next person. Rachel, I have you on you're the next on my screen.
Yeah, sorry. Hello, I'll just reintroduce myself again. I'm the environmental manager for the Squamish Nation Rights and Title Department. I don't have much of an update to provide because I'm quite new to this particular landfill expansion and update and the SLRD PMAC. Did I get that acronym correct? Yeah, just a very small update. I've been in contact with Shannon and hopefully one of our environmental monitors, who in our department we call ACE technicians. ACE stands for Archaeology, Culture, and Environment. We'll hopefully be out with the contractor Sperling and Hansen to do some monitoring at the landfill, hopefully this Wednesday and potentially part of Thursday. And I will be following up with Shannon shortly to hopefully go over some more detailed meetings between some of the folks from our archaeology branch and myself, just to get a sort of more fulsome update on the landfill expansion. So that's all the update that I have to provide today. And I'll stay on for another few minutes, but this is perfect timing because I have to leave at 2:30. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll put my email in the chat as well if you'd like to get in contact with me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, no questions. So the next one is Denise. If you can introduce yourself, Denise, and give us a little update. Denise, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
I said that it's what I said was it's complicated to get back online, to find your mouse, to get on the right screen. And I'm Denise Simbo, GFL Squamish. So nice to meet you all. First of all, I'd like to just say, if I could, good work to the work that is happening. Shannon, I'm aware of most of what we do, and Mary Lou, but when I hear it back, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff that's going on. It's a lot of good work. So, you know, I think we should be happy for that. I'll just tell you a couple of things. We are working with West Winds, which is the new senior housing development here in Squamish. And we have been sponsoring their waste room. So we painted their walls like Aware did in Whistler. And now we just were in there last week and said, okay, you know, we need more signage or better signage because it's still a bit confusing. We've heard that adding pictures of animals will increase recycling. So we're going to add some pictures of animals, like I guess if there's like a turtle or a fish by the plastics, that makes people think, etc. So we're just going to do some experimenting, and they're quite open to it, which is great. You know, they're going to call it, I think, a diversion room as opposed to a waste room. And they're going to try and house it so that they have somebody for their complex there, you know, different person every day of the week at some point so that people can get some help. They're also setting up like a book exchange and a clothing exchange and a, like, you know, and they still, you know, they're working on what they're going to do, but they're planning on having a, you know, once a month, you know, bring in bigger items like, you know, big appliances or electronics or things that can be transported elsewhere. So that's kind of exciting work. And I think that it's real grassroots. I think that's what we need to get to, is create a little template that we can say, okay, this worked for these guys. This is the diversion that they've had. And now the next development that comes in, we want you to emulate that. So not just a strata, but that each housing complex would have a diversion committee, you know, that would put as much sort of emphasis onto that, their waste, etc. Now, I'll also say that the District of Squamish has been doing a really good job of getting developers to kind of reach out in advance. We yet to see how this will translate in the long run, but we've done some good, bad, ugly tours with them, with their group, to sort of say, this is, now that Squamish is suddenly growing, and we've got all these undergrounds and apartments and all of these special things, we're looking at, okay, what's working, what's not working. Like if the diversion room is too small, you know, if you can only fit a waste bin in and you can't fit the 7 other items that you need in there, then it's really unlikely that you're going to have a successful program long term. So I think they've been doing a super good job there, getting people to kind of reach out in advance. And I'm hopeful that that will make a difference as we kind of go down the road so that we can sort of, if they say, make folks reach out and then they say, now hold you accountable, you must have this diversion in there. I think that we're going to get a lot more success if we start looking that way. So this little diversion committee that we're working on with West Winds, I'm hoping we'll be able to take that little template and just move it thing to thing. Now, what we also did, and I know I don't have to take a breath, and that's confusing for some. It's okay, I won't pass out. What we also did is we took Century Signs along to the West Winds with us to kind of, say, okay, what can we do better for signage? And they got some ideas. But what they're thinking of doing is offering templates so that existing garbage rooms and new garbage rooms, because Whistler, most of the rooms are set. We could probably have a vinyl colors to go behind the walls to kind of brighten it up instead of paint. So there's other ways of doing it to kind of, brighten it up. So that might be coming as well. That's what we're kind of working on. We've been doing a few presentations as requested. Last week I was at the Squamish Rotary Club talking about the Squamish landfill, et cetera, and I'm hoping and diversion and where the waste is coming from, where it's going to. We've done a few others. I spent a lifetime with Nexi actually, but there's a few different places, people who are reaching out, which again I think is really good news because I think that means people care and they're getting involved. I have Shannon encouraged them to give some comments. They promised me they would. Now I'm going to circle back after this meeting and I'm going to send another email and say again, please do some comments so we can hopefully get some. And I'm going to try and get my staff to do it again as well. So I apologize for that. We've also we have hired a couple of senior recycling auditors. And so we've been working on this now for about a year. So we have two seniors who go out for 2 hours a day, every day, and flip the lids and look inside and then make notes to the residents. And I think Shannon might have better information on this, but I think we're making a difference. I think our audits are getting better generally. There's still pockets of problems, glass, film, books. There's a few things that remain a constant challenge, but I think we're moving in the right direction. I think giving people that feedback more regularly and is being helpful. We're also able to find a lot of really bad contaminators, and then we're taping their totes shut, turning them around, and leaving notes there too. So if they've used that tote for not its purpose, but carpet or a stereo or whatever, we can say stop it right there. And then now that we flagged them, we can go back and say, okay, how are we doing on that? And did they get the message, or is it going to be more of a constant sort of item? I will make the comment too that we run a little Facebook page called, I think, Wasted Sea to Sky. Wasted. Anyways, but so as somebody had put up some examples of some Facebook programs that send me anything that you want me to post. If it's a pop-up event or whatever, send it to me. I'm not looking hard enough to find it, but if it comes to me, I'll definitely post it. And then I'm actually putting a bit of money behind it as well, so that it will get a bit more eyes on it and views. So I'm happy to do that. And the other thing, we just did a poster contest for all the school districts throughout the corridor. Well, we did a couple things. We did a teacher's kit to teach about recycling and diversion, bears, blah, blah, blah. And we also did this poster contest, an Earth Day poster contest, that they've started to get their little medals and t-shirts and things. So that was kind of great. Again, to Mary Lou's point, I think we have to send that information home with the youths, because that's how we're going to, get it into the hands of the parents. And, I think having responsible young citizens or aware young citizens is going to make a difference to us in the long run. Maybe not in the next 2 to 5, but hopefully over 10 to 20 years, we're going to make a difference that way. And the last thing that I think that I have, and this isn't really solid waste, but it is kind of GHG, is that Squamish is fortunate enough, I guess, to be getting the first residential electric garbage truck in Canada. So Squamish is going to get that. I don't know if we're going to get it permanently and forever, but we're certainly getting it to test it. So we're going to, and it hasn't shown up yet. It's in Vancouver apparently, but it hasn't shown up yet. But we will be taking it to all the communities just to show them and to kind of give it an example of kind of what that looks like. We want to test it too, because nobody knows. Nobody knows the capacity, how long it'll work, if it'll work in mountainous conditions, if it'll work in snow conditions and cold conditions. So we're going to put it through its paces. Plus it will do some visits to the lower mainland, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of an exciting story, I think. But the reason I'm telling you is because the children of our corridor have an opportunity to name the truck. And so we've put it out to the schools. But at this point, we've had, I think, 4 names of all the schools. So I'm going to tell you as well, if you have any children, if it would be really great to get some names in so that we can, hopefully then once we have names, we're going to give those to GFL, and then the employees of GFL will vote on the favorite. It'd be great to get something that meant something to us. And so I'm just going to invite you all to participate if you can. And I think that's all I have. Those soil champion stickers. Do you have the stickers, or is it just an artwork? I think it was Vanessa that had it in her presentation.
Yeah, we have them.
Because I think those would be good to have. I think those would be good to put on the the doors of businesses that are, or at least offer them to businesses that are, have an organics program.
Vanessa,
Anyways.
can you speak to that? Because we have had that conversation around trying to find ways to promote businesses who are doing the right thing. But I don't know if we made any progress on that.
No, we haven't made any progress on that, because after participating in a lot of other committees that included, the city of Victoria and all that, it kind of shifted my perspective and understanding that some businesses, actually, I'm thinking about single-use items, but we had discussed it for composting, but I didn't move on that. But what I am going to do is I have some that are already printed that I'm going to be handing to Jeff and Lauren for outreach purposes. And if we decide that we are giving them to businesses to advertise that they're composting, I think that would be great. And then if more need to be printed, I can do that as well.
Well, I'm thinking if they could be dated, I mean, I know whatever you have to have, but if they could be dated as we move forward, that might be a good way. Like they could maybe take the digital form, put it on their website, or on their Facebook page, or physically on their menus or something. Because I just think that I believe people care. I think it would be good if people could choose based on who's doing a good job.
I like that idea.
That's it for me.
Thank you, Denise. This is so great. I'm very excited to see the electric garbage truck.
When we get it, they keep saying, well, what are you going to do? And I'm going to say, when am I going to get it? So, I think we would, I think when we physically have the truck and we know we can start it and drive it, etc., I will do some kind of a presentation probably to this group, maybe Squamish Can, Aware, whoever wants to sort of come and see it and meet the truck, check it out, hear it, listen. I think it's hard to know. I'm hoping to get it at the library, for kids to look at it and such. But yeah, I think it is really exciting.
Thank
Denise,
you.
please let us know. I'm happy to support it. However we can.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Anyone questions for Denise? No. Okay. The next person I have is Carmen.
I don't, I'm still just getting to know everyone. I'm Carmen Stacy from the Pemberton Wildlife Association. And our concerns, of course, center on wildlife and illegal dumping, but I don't have a report about what we're doing this year as yet.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
You'll be more than welcome to give us an update at the next meeting. And I know you have been involved in the illegal dumping strategy and action plan that the SLRD is hoping to provide an update at the next meeting as well. So very excited to work with you on that.
Thank you.
Andrew, you're the next one.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Mary Lou. Things that we're working on. First of all, my name's Andrew Tucker. I am the manager of the waste management program for the municipality of Whistler. So myself and two individuals that I work with, Lauren and Ian, operate the waste management program for the municipality. Things that we are working on this year. We have our Zero Waste Select Committee of Council, which has been meeting since 2019. Last year, 2021, our Zero Waste Action Plan was adopted by Council, and now we are working on that plan and trying to resolve or to achieve some of the goals that we set out in that plan. One of the more important pieces is getting the amount of waste that's currently going to landfill and get those amounts reduced. Our focus recently has been on construction and demolition material. So we're talking to members from the build environment about what work that we can do together to reduce the amount of material that's generated on site, but particularly how can material coming in for disposal be separated, so source separated at the construction site, as opposed to when it's delivered to the transfer station. But we're also looking at what we can do at the transfer station when we receive that material to see how we can sort it so that we're, like I say, reducing the amount that's going to the landfill. We're looking at ways how we can reduce the number of trips to the landfill. So if you're not aware, Whistler has no longer has a landfill. We transport all of our waste from our transfer station, the Callahan Valley, to Cache Creek landfill. So you can imagine there's a lot of trucks on the road throughout the year. So we always work to try to reduce the amount of vehicles, the amount of trucks that are going down. And part of that is just generating less waste and diverting more. We operate two residential collection depots. So we collect EPR material, landfill waste, and at our Nestor's depot, we have regional recycling there, which is a main collector of other EPR materials. We also have seasonal collection like yard waste, and that's operating at both our depots. So Whistler has been focusing on wild fire and wild smarting year property. So we see a lot of yard waste that comes into the depot just from residents that want to clean up around their house. So we provide that service to them. Lauren, who works with me on our outreach side, has been working reviewing solid waste management plans that come in through Municipal Hall, either through our business license program or through development services, to provide good solid waste information, particularly around collection rooms. There's a lot of effort that can be spent on designing a really good collection room. So we want to make sure that people have the information they need to include that in projects that they have. Also, Whistler's getting busier, so working with other municipal departments on events that are coming into Whistler, just to make sure that the event organizers are aware of their responsibilities when it comes to generating waste and keeping materials out of the landfill. What else are we doing? Trying to kick off some working groups. So this is initiatives that came out of our committee, and that's just to engage the public in reduction of construction demolition material, waste that's generated from the commercial sector, so the ICI sector, and then also to make sure that the residents of the community are involved in the waste that we generate as a community on that level. And so these are all important pieces to talk to people about and to try to create that behavior change that we all of us desperately need to see. And then of course we deal with illegal dumping as well. So looking forward to seeing a strategy from that is developed that we can use, and yeah, and that we can continue on with. But that's some of the stuff that we're doing. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Can you see the comment from Julia on the chat, Andrew? She's asking you if you connected with Dave from Phase 1 Dismantling Services.
Sort of unmute myself. Yes, thank you. I have met Dave, and they're doing great work, so thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments for Andrew? No, perfect. Thank you so much. The next one I have, let's see, Scott.
Hey everyone. So I haven't prepared any kind of report here. What's happening at Sea to Sky Soils? We are kind of full speed with operations. There's no particularly new projects in the works. We're spending more time with Lillooet Nation to look at strengthening partnerships there, and just kind of see ways that we can both benefit from potential opportunities in the future. But the site kind of continues to operate sort of as it has. We've been able to do some school tours in the fall, but not yet this spring. Spring's a hard time for us just because operations are so busy, but hopefully we'll be doing those again this year to have some level of outreach that we can manage. And what else? I feel like that's about it. I don't feel like I have a lot to report. I feel like I'm busy, but just sort of with day-to-day operations rather than new projects and interesting things to report.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions? No questions. Okay, the next one I have is Julia.
Hi, I'll just turn on my video and my earphones. Can you hear me very well? Is that working? Great. Yeah, so I'm Jules from Squamish Climate Action Network, a nonprofit here in Squamish. And yeah, there's lots to update you guys on, so I'll kind of just start with that. I guess the biggest thing to note is we actually just created our updated strategic plan that we're hoping to release kind of to the public to let everyone know where we're at, where we're moving forward. Obviously, in terms of zero waste, we are looking at definitely expanding our committee. Currently, we're kind of going through some growing pains, I would say. I'm the only person within our zero waste committee, and I'm not even full-time in that committee. So we're really trying to look for, focusing a lot on looking for grants. We're trying to look for collaborations. We just reached out, to Aware Whistler. We're hoping to kind of work together because we definitely align on most everything we do. So, hopefully for the upcoming Constellation Fest, we're hoping to provide them with some help with their zero waste initiatives that they're running. We also have obviously our curbside tune-ups that we run with the SLRD and the District of Squamish. and they're going really happy with kind of what we've been seeing. I think a big issue that we're finding is just kind of the communication with the residents about what's going on. And I just spoke to Vanessa a couple of days ago about potentially maybe creating some more community outreach as a follow-up to the curbside tune-up. So maybe even creating a curbside tune-up like night that you meet and the residents can come and we can actually provide them with some answers and have more time to actually like be thoughtful in our presentation and not just running around being on the streets being like, you know, we have to continue on. And so that would be a big focus for us. Obviously we have our zero waste workshop series and we're basically on target. We did miss the March workshop, but we're hoping we can swing back around later in the year. So we've had, in February, I ran a zero waste workshop that was basically how to set your home up for success. I like all the a lot of the zero waste events that I run, getting engagement is quite difficult. Obviously through COVID, it was really, really hard. And that one that was run in February was online as well. However, that's a big focus for me is trying to kind of create some cohesion in the information that's being put out there. I find there's so much, I feel like everywhere you look, it's the same information, but maybe it's presented in a different way. And I think it creates a lot of confusion for residents, and also trying to kind of synthesize what's going on between if you live in a strata building or if you live in residential. And so kind of what the goal was in running that workshop was trying to give people an idea of looking at, first of all, where do you live? Are you a strata resident or residential? And then how you can set your systems up to align with your waste management program. And then we ran the repair cafe. That was great. I've never run them before, so I'm kind of like learning as I go. And obviously I worked with Jeff Wint from the district on these things. That was great. We had about 50 people show up, and I think about 67 items were repaired. So that's great. Super happy with the community involvement. That was amazing. And then we had the Reuse It Fair, and that was insane. Like it was fabulous, and I learned a lot. We got rough numbers from GFL, and it was I think Jeff and I had kind of been like thinking it was around 400 people. They had said probably more around 500 people attended, so that was great. We had about 50 tons that was taken away by the community. We had about 3.9 that ended up in landfill, about 3, I believe, that went, or yeah, I think about 3 that went to Big Brother. So they collected kind of some leftovers, and then obviously some goes to metal recycling and other recycling that we had available there as well. So that was really, really great to see the community come out. And like, I don't know if people had just been hoarding things through COVID, but it was awesome. And you learn at every event. And so a lot of the feedback I heard there too is just like, how can we offer this more to the community? And so I think, finding resources to be able to provide this more consistently, and same with the Repair Cafe is definitely a goal of Squamish Cans. And yeah, what else are we going on? We were working with Whistler, or we're trying to, I guess Squamish POW is trying to kind of they're trying to kind of create themselves right now. Like it's kind of mostly Whistler POW, that's where the focus is. So there's a couple individuals in Squamish who are trying to kind of create their own little group here. We've been working on with them. We did like a little reusable cup campaign with Sunflower Bakery. So that was a collaboration between Squamish County and POW. That was great. We're definitely looking to kind of create more engagement with local businesses in terms of zero waste. So we're actually running a workshop with carbon engineering, and this will just be within the business itself and trying to give them like some sustainability tips and how they can also support our projects and creating community engagement and stuff like that. Yeah, those are basically kind of like, that's kind of been what's going on. There's some more things behind the scenes. I'm currently working on a project trying to create a framework from a field study that was done by a woman named Samantha Lee at Quest University on kind of waste management and behavioral sciences. And so hopefully I can try to, she's been amazing and basically given us her research, and it's like, okay, now you come up with a framework of how you can apply this and offer this to local businesses and other groups. So that's a very, very quick overview. Obviously we have more workshops planned for later in the year. We'll have our zero waste around the home. We'll have our zero waste around the holidays. We're hoping to maybe do a clothing swap at I think around October. So definitely be on the lookout for those. If you're not part of our newsletter, please join. We try to keep everyone updated. Yeah, that's a little bit about what's going on.
Thank you, Jules. That's so amazing. Thank you for the work you're doing. It's,
yeah, thank you.
it's always
You
great.
support us. Yeah, that's great.
Always. Do we have any questions for Jules? Okay, so the last one on my list, but not the least, Brandy from District of Lillooet is new to the group. So Brandy, even if you don't have a big update, if you want to update us on the District of Lillooet side of
Do you see the chat, Marilou? Brandy says that she doesn't have a mic, so she can't speak.
Oh, no. Okay. Brandy, do you want to give us like a quick update on the chat and we can share with people? We'll give him a little bit of time. So yeah, he joined the group so he can help with issues they're having in Lillooet. Do you want to? So we can probably try to fix that for the next time, so we can get a proper update from Brandy. But I'm very glad to have him on board now. It has been challenging to get people from the District of Lillooet on this team, so this is very exciting for me. And for the whole group, they're representing more the north of the regional district, and we barely hear from them, so that is a great news. I won't give you an update. You got all my updates with the presentation, with everything the regional district is working on, and everything that we still need to work on. So there's quite a bit of work. We are on track. It is an open discussion now, so we can just open our mics if we want to have any conversation. However, I've seen the group pretty much quiet today, but let's open our mic, and we plan for an hour because usually there's a lot of conversation around, but if we end up the meeting sooner, it's okay as well. But let's open the mic. If there's any subject you would like to talk about that we haven't addressed, please. I don't have anything on my side. I think like the main thing was the focus amendment, and Shannon did a great update on that, and just the overall management plan update where we are at with all the actions.
I have a question for everyone. I would just love your guys' feedback. In the solid waste plan, obviously I see that there's wanting to be more collaborations with nonprofits, and I'm just wondering, like, if it would be nice to kind of take it back to our nonprofit and our board and just see like what is the support you guys are looking for. Is it just community engagement and feedback? And that would be, I don't know if anyone has anything to offer, but it would be really nice to know so that I can take that back and we can have a conversation about how we can best support you guys in these changes.
I can speak at the regional district level. So we always look for collaboration with local organizations, especially that we have such a large area that we need to cover, and we can't, like, I would like to see like Repair Cafe, Reuse It Fair, like all over the regional district, but we don't have the manpower to organize all of that. And also we don't have the connection. So for us, collaboration with local organizations is kind of like helping us to organize that and kind of like promote it and just make it happen. If I was to organize a Repair Cafe in Lillooet, I'll need more than just myself and Vanessa, because we know how much work it is to organize a Repair Cafe. And if you don't have that connection locally, it's really hard. So that's really what I feel like I'm looking for on local organization, more like collaboration, but other people might have other input into that.
Do you think it would be helpful to kind of create some like frameworks of how, like operationally, of like how you run these things? Obviously, like the connections are going to be different between municipalities, but you know, that's something we could think about in the future of kind of creating like a how-to, a very rough how-to, if, you know, we don't have maybe the capacity to like be right there and involved. I don't know if that would be something.
Yeah, if you do have a framework that we could share with like this group and kind of help promote more of those events, that would be obviously awesome. I don't know, Vanessa, if you have anything to add to that, because Vanessa is the one really leading those events, and so she might have.
My only thought is, as we mentioned earlier in our presentation, it is something that we're working on to bring more structure to it. So you're exactly right, Jules. We are working on having an actual framework. And we're hoping that we can put something together in 2022, 2023. We're definitely thinking of something at like a, you know, an initiative fund or something like that. Something that will have structure in it, how to. That's the next step forward.
Thank you. Shannon, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, Jules. I don't have a solid answer, but I think like a couple things. There's often place for projects or programs that we just don't have capacity to run. And so like, how does Squamish Can or any nonprofit like fit into that to help execute them? So that's like kind of what Mary Lou was talking about as well. But also knowing how can we support you, knowing that everyone's time is valuable. And so like putting what's reasonable, but like money into our budgets so that we can then fund programs. Like there's kind of we need information to flow both ways a little bit, I would say. And I'm not speaking specifically about Squamish Can, it's just in general. And then also from my point of view, like the Zero Waste Action Committee, our team has been really prominent in Squamish before COVID. And that was the district of Squamish was like the liaison, provided the room, but Can really like ran with the organization and whatnot. And so that's like the other piece where it's like kind of bringing community members together. Not everyone wants to participate in like municipal led programs or like advisory committees. And so like some of it's like, how can I participate as a volunteer? And then as a municipal employee, I can come, or Jeff can come, and we can say, hey, like here's some things we're doing, like stuff like that. Supporting collaboration in that way is kind of what I see as well.
Yeah, that's really helpful feedback, because I always kind of think of it like it's a one way, like us reaching out and being like, you know, how we can, you know, support you guys. But yeah, obviously, especially right now with growing pains and it would be great. I don't know if we've been able to share our strategic plan with you yet, but yeah, you can kind of see where we're at, and like and also aligning, you know, the zero waste strategy within the district to our, you know, to our strategic plan, and where we match and where we align, and how we could, move forward with some of those initiatives would be really cool.
I'm just going to add one other thing, and again, not only speaking to Squamish Can, but like Aware, Squamish Rebuild, or Whistler Center of the Reuse It Center. There's a place I see for nonprofits to have within capacity, but to play that role to make money for themselves to support them. So there's some things like, hypothetically, I'm not sure if this is where you're going, but like maybe Squamish Can offers a service to the community to do corporate waste audits or whatever, right? And it can be a user fee, like what is it called? Pay per use?
Yeah, fee for service, yeah.
Thank you, pay for service.
Yeah.
And or like it goes for also for profit as well, but like there's a place where I can see a lot of gaps from my role, but the municipality can't fill some of those gaps.
For sure.
So having like open conversations is, the solid waste management plan is great and comprehensive, but it's also static to a point. There's a lot of engagement that went into the 2016 version, but like we're in 2022 now, so things have moved on. So it's, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. I think that was our biggest goal, at least within like the zero waste committee, when we were doing our strategic plan, is how can we kind of create a bit more of like a social enterprise to actually like, because we want to do so much, it's just we don't have the capacity, and our food security, food policy division has just like exploded, and so that's where a lot of our energy is going. And I personally, like, kind of being the only one on our zero waste committee, would really like to kind of grow this end of, or this area of Squamish Can. And yeah, so looking for a fee, because I, even having conversations with are aware, like, there aren't really zero waste grants out there. There's not a ton out there. And so yeah, any ideas on any of those like social enterprises, yeah, it's great.
I will say that, I think that there's a great value, like the rest of us are sort of paid to be here, or to care. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, but we're paid to do that. So when you have a community-based organization who is, you're trying to get some money to support yourself, or you're creating these initiatives, I think it's a really fabulous way for us to kind of tap back into the community to figure out, are we on the right track? Are we missing something? So I think a big thing you could do is just building your ranks. Maybe every person in Squamish should be a member of Squamish Can, and trying to create it. Like, that doesn't mean you have to do something, but just from a knowledge-based perspective or a sharing perspective, I think it'd be great to just be able to kind of send out questions and get answers now and again about different things, like what's important, like what is important, or what is resonating with the residents of Squamish. I think people are exhausted right now because there is no one out there working. So doing anything, volunteer work, anything, it's really difficult to kind of keep the ball moving. Because I've just spent a bit of time with Rotary in the last week, I know they're exhausted. And it seems like every group that I'm in, the yacht club, they're exhausted. Everybody seems to be at their very wit's end. So I don't know that doesn't seem to be like a lot of capacity for more hands-on, jumping in, boots on the ground. But I also think that some of that's out there as well. It's just a matter of kind of, relating with people, like, there is no pressure. We just want your opinions. We just want to hear what you're saying. Come be a part of the movement, sort of thing. Because I do believe that's got to be there. I don't know how else you're going to get there. I think corporate waste audits, which I think Shannon said, would be super valuable because people want that, like an independent, even what we give them isn't necessarily what they want. And then I think setting up diversion committees would be, from the zero waste side, would be, good things. And also raising the profile of folks who are doing a good job, because there's a lot of people in all the communities who are doing a really good job where they can. And so highlighting that.
Great, thanks, Denise.
Anyone else want to add any comments, questions to the group?
I guess I could just add a comment. Thanks. Is in my mind, the waste management that we as on this call here, and others that work within the area, I think we have concluded that this is a regional problem. Of course, waste is an issue everywhere, but Squamish, Whistler, Pemberton, SLRD, we're a little bit unique. We have a little bit unique challenges from the rest of the world, but we do share similarities between our communities. So there's a lot of work that's going on in the Sea to Sky, and the timing may be different from each community. But if you're having an issue and you're not sure what to do, then for sure, you know, reach out to others, reach out to us, because maybe we've already addressed it, or we're going through the same thing, and we can, you know, have that conversation. So I think that it's really important that we continue to have a dialogue about waste management from a regional perspective, and to try to you know, develop that economy of scale that'll help us, you know, reach those goals. So I'm encouraged that you've already talked to Aware, you know, in Whistler. If you haven't talked to Lauren, who I work with, then I definitely recommend that. And then just we can share more about some of the work that we're doing here in Whistler and what others are doing. So thank you.
Can I just ask, is it Lauren Harrison that works with you, Andrew?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, she used to work with Squamish Can, so I know her briefly, so I'll connect with her.
Excellent.
And there's Jeff from Squamish. Yeah, there's Jeff from Squamish as well, and Vanessa at the SLRD level. Those three connect very often on different activities, challenges, or whatever. So I'm sure they'll be pleased to meet with you and organize a meeting with Squamish Can and Aware, so you can all connect. Yes, Shannon.
Just to go up what Andrew said, I think like in that like we do have a lot of opportunity for regional solutions. This isn't a nonprofit comment per se, but like things like if there was like a local mattress recycler, like I feel like there's a lot of opportunities, perhaps business opportunities that we could find locally. Like composting is done locally thanks to the facilities that we have. So I think I really appreciate, Andrew, that comment about it being a regional thing. Like we do operate, like the municipalities kind of RMOW and Squamish operate kind of solo, but like I think there's an big opportunity for regional.
Sorry.
Thanks, Shannon. Anyone else? Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions or comments, we can end the meeting, as I know everyone is very, very busy and time is valuable. So thank you, everyone. Vanessa, do we have anyone, any residents that showed up, and do they have any questions? Do we hear anything about like attendees with their?
No, we did not have anybody from the public attend today.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Shannon.
Sorry, I have one last thing. I keep forgetting to mention this, but we have to celebrate our wins. And the Squamish landfill won an award, most improved landfill of 2022. So I actually really want to give a big shout out to Denise and her team, because GFL has the contract for operating and maintaining our landfill. And so the award was really to recognize, like in 2009, we were like, the Ministry of Environment was like cracking down on the Squamish landfill. You know, we had environmental issues, there was concerns from residents. And so we've done a ton of work on like housekeeping and bringing our site up to compliance and exceeding regulatory requirements, but then also the operations that happens, the compaction and you know, just soil and cover and stuff. And so anyway, just shout out to Denise and her team, and just wanted to celebrate a win.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Brandy. Even if your camera or your mic didn't work, thank you for being here with us. Thank you to all our new members. This is very great. So you will hear from us. The plan is to have our next meeting by October, November, so we can get the PMAC committee approving the focus amendment, and then we can bring it to the SLRD board. So you should hear from us very, very soon. Hopefully we'll have quite a bit of time to get prepared for that one. And if you have any questions, if you have any challenges you want to discuss, you're more than welcome to share it with the committee, and I'm sure you'll get great feedback. So thank you all very much. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Bye.
Because we had to
Bye.
ask the mayor for permission on that.